Good afternoon. This video, I'm going to deal with a video that Robert Breaker just put out dealing about the attack on the statues and memorials by the communists, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, all these groups out there attacking them. And of course, these are attacks on U.S. history. They want to rewrite history, destroy history. But if you go to his blog, and he's going to defend this now, the idea of the Civil War, he's going to bring it up, that the Confederacy was representing Christianity, and the North wasn't. Read Lincoln's Second Inaugural. He says both sides read the same Bible. That's history, people. And Lincoln's second Inaugural, when you explain how the Civil War came. Both sides reading the same Bible, which is the King James Bible. So here we're going to have here, from the left, an attack on history. And we see an attack on history from the right, the neoconservatives, neo-Confederates. You go to his blog, everyone's going to say, oh, hey, do you know what he's talking about? He's not saying this, he's not saying that. Breaker doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. You're misinterpreting him. People just thought history are liars. He's going to say people in the North were Unitarians and Catholics. Every major denomination was split by slavery, people. The Presbyterians, the Baptists, the Methodists, everybody. And these are Protestant people who say they split over slavery. And the issue was the Confederacy was established to defend slavery and to expand it. In their Constitution, they put the word Negro slavery in there. They put Negro. The U.S. Constitution doesn't have that. They made slavery a racial issue, people. This is why these guys will lie to you. They have all these books come out and say, well, the real history of the Civil War. Get the Confederate Constitution by Lawrence Vance, who's a big neo-Confederate guy, and read the differences. When they put the word Negro slavery in there, they made slavery a racial issue, which it never was before that, because they want to go back to the curse of Ham, which is what Whiteman does. So here now you're going to have a guy here who's going after a group who's decided to destroy the communists, the Antifa and these idiot groups, destroy history by destroying monuments. What are the monuments we destroyed so far? Grant? They've put graffiti on the 54th Regiment, the famous regiment, the all-black regiment from Glory. If blacks hadn't fought in the Civil War, we would have lost that war. It was blacks coming into the Union Army. Now that's something the blacks should be pointing out. They forfeit their freedom. And at the end of the war, they were the ones who wanted to fight, and they had unequal pay and things like that, and they had to deal with that, and they weren't getting paid the same as white people. Soldiers were getting paid, and but they were still wanting to fight. But I'll show you the stupidity of this guy, what he pushes. Oh, read the real history. Did you know Robert E. Lee was against secession? He didn't think secession was legal. He only went because his statement, he put loyalty to Virginia above loyalty to the United States. But the fact of the matter is, he didn't think it was legal. He wrote that to his son. Andrew Jackson didn't believe secession was legal. These guys always leave out facts. But he's going to try to point out that the North is full of, these Unitarians and Roman Catholics, while the South is full of God-fearing, Christians. There was one black leader who escaped slavery. His name escapes my memory offhand. He said the so-called Christian masters, quote unquote, were the worst. Keep me away from them. He said he escaped from slavery, and he wrote a lot of books on it, and very, very famous black man. He said they were the worst. So let me get here's Robert Baker.
They do is they come in and they try to take the culture of the people and destroy it in order to get rid of their ancestors, in order to get rid of the memory of those who came before. Because the revolutionary Marxists, the communists, want to take over our country. Our country was founded as a Christian nation. This cannot be denied. Many in the South were Christians. I've told this before, but I'll tell you again. The North and the South were divided way before the Civil War. Before the actual fighting and a physical war began, there was a spiritual war. The North were Irish Catholics, Unitarians, and Universalists.
The North was Irish Catholics, Unitarians, and Roman Catholics. Where did he get this nonsense from? This is how he makes up stuff from the Bible, people. Same stuff. Off the top of his head.
Catholics do not believe in the one sacrifice of Christ forever for all sins. They believe in the Mass. They believe they have to do it over. That what Jesus did on the cross when he said, "It is finished," they said, "No, it wasn't finished. We got to keep doing it." So they didn't really believe the Bible. Universalists, Unitarians, same way. They did not believe in the doctrine of sin. Unitarians used to...
See, what he's really talking about, he doesn't tell you, he's talking about the abolitionist movement. And the people in the forefront of that were usually Unitarians and Quakers. Not the entire North. But that's how these guys write history, people. Very stupidly.
Did not believe in the blood atonement of Christ. And so these people were people who did not believe in God in the Bible. Many of them might have used the name of God in religion.
Frederick Turner is the guy, the black man's name. I can remember that. Frederick Turner. Read some of his work, people. Read some of his work. He escaped from slavery. Read what he went through.
But they said, "Oh, but we don't believe the miracles in the Bible. We don't believe that." So there was a great divide in the United States of America before the Civil War. And
now, see what he's trying to say? He's trying to say that the North was mostly Unitarian, Irish Catholics. No, the Irish Catholics were basically up in the New York area. Lincoln said, when the war began, it began people reading both people reading the same Bible.
It was a spiritual divide. The South was...
See how I want you to believe that? A spiritual divide. Oh, there was a denominational divide. There were Presbyterians and Baptists and Methodists who divided over this. Northern and Southern. And they all read the King James Bible.
Mostly made up of Baptists, Methodists, Episcopalians, and Presbyterians. Now they had some differences.
They both split. Now he's getting to the Episcopalians, Methodists, and Baptists. So.
But they all believed the Bible.
Yeah, and they split, North and South.
And they all preached the gospel of 1 Corinthians 15, 1 through 4, and that salvation was through the blood atonement of Christ, and his death, burial, and resurrection, and his dying in your place for your sins. So many of the South looked up at the North and said, boy, they are heretics.
He wants to tell you. He wants to believe that the Episcopalians didn't divide over this. There were Northern Episcopalians, Northern Baptists, Northern Methodists. That's what he wants you to believe, people. They were just Unitarians coming down like a bunch of barbarians coming down to the South.
They don't believe the Bible.
This is the same group. The Confederates are the same group. And there's a small group of people, the plantation owners. who started forbidding people, the black people, to even get Christianity, who forbade them to read the Bible because they were terrified of the Bible, and they forbade them to read and write, learn to read and write. But just came, the last 50 years. As slavery was supposed to eventually be removed from the United States, but it hardened when a new group of people came in after Calhoun. And slavery began being seen as a positive good. And it took on racial overtones in the South, which it never had before.
Many of the North looked down at the South and said, "Oh, they're a bunch of dumb hicks. Those people that believe in the Bible. While we're culture, while we're smart, while we're more dignified and cultured and well-read, we're not like those bunch of hillbillies down south that believe in that book."
Now we believe black people should have a right to keep the fruits of their own labor. That's what those people are saying. That we believe what the Declaration of Independence said, that all men were created equal, and endowed with the Creator with certain inalienable rights, the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That's what the North was saying, people. That's what the South was rejecting. The South rejected the Declaration of Independence. They said it was for white people only. That was what the Dred Scott decision was about. Let's stop here and put this up. And we'll deal with it more for later. If a guy can't teach you history correct, he can't teach the Bible correct. That's why I'm making these videos. If this guy would distort history this way, he's going to distort scripture this way. Because there's something mentally wrong with the guy. His mind doesn't function. He claims that, read these history books. I'm going to go to the end of the video. And again, this is a PBI thing, where they try to defend the whole issue of, on his little booklet, segregation. We're welcome to defend this Jim Crow laws. Against race mixing, as they call it. Now, does this make what these maniacs are doing in Antifa correct? No. Because they're attacking everybody, attacking all statues and stuff. And I don't care if people want to put up Confederate statues. That's their business. Who cares? But let's not lie about it, what they've stood for. Let's not pretend, ignore what slavery was. And these guys were not only defending slavery, they were defending on a racial issue, racial position. That was one group of people from being enslaved, Negroes. That doesn't mean that Negroes didn't own slaves. People always come back and say, Negroes own. Yeah, I know that. They had free black people who'd owned slaves. But they weren't in the Constitution that one group could be enslaved. And they were planning to expand slavery. That was what the war was really about. Ultimately, why the South seceded, because when Lincoln came into power, he was going to stop the expansion of slavery. Now, for the first couple of years, the North wasn't fighting to end slavery. See, that's always the argument. The North wasn't fighting to end slavery. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, we know that. Most people in the North, they said they were trying to maintain the Union. Gradually, over time, they saw they had to end slavery as well as in order to maintain the Union, they had to end slavery. That's what Lincoln finally saw. So there's no way we can do this without ending slavery permanently, eradicating it. When you read their Constitution, you want to compare constitutions. You look at the U.S. Constitution versus the the Confederate Constitution, where they write in Negro slavery as part of their Constitution. Use the word Negro slavery. Or servitude, something, I don't know. But it was the word Negro. Let's stop with this up. We'll deal with this guy. History is very important, people. History is very important. That's why we have no Testament. That's why you have an Old Testament. That's why you have the Gospels and the book of Acts. It's history. Not much in the Old Testament is prophetic, in the sense that its history hasn't been done yet. But history is crucial and is laying the groundwork, because it tells you where we've been. And you see the mistakes people have made. And you say, we're not going to go that route. But you have to be honest. This guy isn't honest. He's a fraud. So you can get bad history from a lot of different directions. And when Boykus talks about the Confederacy, as if it's Christian, it's a lie. Were there Christians involved in it? Yeah. Just like there were Christians involved with the North. He wants you to make it sound like it was a spiritual war in the sense that the North was coming down to, the atheists who were attacking the Christians. I'm going to stop and put this up. Amen. Thank you.